And we're live. I've got camera issues and I never can tell which camera I'm going to be using. Thought I had it figured out and maybe I don't. So I can play with that. And we're live on Facebook. All right. So let's get the camera fixed. You guys get to look at my delightful lighting situation. So I'm trying to keep it brighter. I know on the YouTube channel it's not always fabulous, but we're going to do what we can, of course, as we always do. Who's with me? We got YouTube going. We got Facebook going. It's not telling me who's here, of course, but all right. Let's see. Where are we? Coming off my head. All right. Yeah, like I said, sometimes I think I have stuff figured out, and then life goes, yeah, you don't. Does that happen to anybody else, or is it just me? Hey, Sandy, I was thinking about you this week. Yeah. I might actually end up in the sun today. The way the sun is shifting, it's almost summer, right? In Florida, and it's been beautiful, hasn't it? I don't know where you are, of course, but well, I know where some of you are, but yeah, it's been just really, really wonderful here in Florida. Shockingly enough, in the middle of May, actually almost toward the end, right? So I'll just talk for a little second here. Don't forget that the summer virtual retreat is coming June 19th, 9 to noon. I'm in the planning stages for that. And I'm pretty excited about it. I know the winter retreat was a lot of fun. Some good turnout and a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to equal that this time. Today we're going to get into twists. And then we're going to take our twists someplace maybe fun. Okay? So if you have blocks, you're going to want them. If you have maybe a pillow, you can use your block for sure. But maybe a pillow just to kind of have next to your mat, just in case. And mostly for your mind, right? Because your mind is always a little bit, what's going on here? Unless you're like 10, and then you're just fearless and everything's fine. But we're probably not 10 years old. So yeah, sometimes we need a little bit of comfort for the brain, and that's really all it is. So that's kind of where we're going. Remember, as always, that it is what it is. You make the effort toward this thing. You turn your foot or you turn your chest or whatever it might be, and it is where it is, right? So if you don't ever look like the little man in the pictures in the book, that's okay, because you're not the little man in the pictures in the book. Your body is different. Your flexibility might be different. Well, it's probably different, right? Those people practice hours and hours a day, every day. So that's where we are, and that's what we have to be excited about. And really, the point is not to turn yourself into a pretzel, right? The point is to be so singularly focused on where we are and what we are doing in that moment that you get that yoga buzz that I always talk about, right? So how pretzel-y you are does not matter, not even a little bit. So let's work toward that goal. So come on and take a seat. We are going to start seated here. And again, remember to prop anytime you want to, not just necessarily when I'm suggesting it, but anytime you think you could assist yourself. So even if you're using, say, a chair. So yeah, let's do this here. So align your heels to your groin as much as you can. And then take inner thigh rotation so that you know you're upright on your pelvis. Again, if lifting the pelvis helps keep it upright in this position, that's certainly desirable, especially here. So if you are slouched, right, or compressed in your spine somewhere, and then you try to turn that, that's not a good scenario, right? So you want the proper alignment of your lumbar curve and your cervical curve in the neck here. And then you want to very evenly and gently just rotate around on that axis, right? So we're not leaning or coming forward or any crazy thing like that, and then trying to turn it. That's not very healthy for your back. So keep that in your brain. Lift the pelvic floor, pull the lower belly in and up. That kind of helps with your pelvic tilt. And then sit tall through your sides. So finding that length always. Extending the crown of the head toward the ceiling. Relaxing as much as you can into your hips and your shoulders. Go ahead and close your eyes. And just take a moment. Check in and look for the alignment of the spine. Watch for the engagement of the belly. Noticing other things about how your body feels this morning. And respecting all of that. So if you're feeling a little stiff or you've got a little ache or pain here or there, listen to it. It will tell you what it needs and what it shouldn't, what it doesn't want. Coming to your breath. And just take a moment to observe the breath. Be super thankful for without that there is nothing. And then let's allow the breath to expand. Drawing it deeper into the lungs. Letting it flow smoothly and evenly. Inhales and exhales. Maybe even slowing it down just a little bit. Staying connected to our breath. Remember that this is the thing. And if we lose this, no matter what sort of pretzel we work ourselves into, it's all kind of messy. We've lost our foundation. This is the foundation. So staying connected here. Let's add into that. Extending the arms out to the sides with the inhale. Stretch them up. And on the exhale, bring them back down again. Let's do it again, inhaling up. Exhaling down. We're going to go one more time like that. We'll come back to the top, inhale. Exhale, just your right hand back to the mat and give yourself a little tip over to that side without losing your foundation of the pelvis, the belly, the big breath here. And on the inhale, make your way back up to center. Let's take it over to the left. Inhale and come back up to the middle. Once more like that on each side. So exhale right. See if you can move a little deeper into the stretch. Next inhale brings us back up to the top. Taking it over to the left. And then back up again, inhale. Exhale, releasing the arms. So let's start off with a nice easy twist here. Just bringing the right hand to the left knee and the left hand behind the body. Give yourself this gentle, easy twist. So as if someone behind you had called your name, right? Kind of turning, and notice your tendencies, right? So maybe you just turn your shoulders. Maybe you turn your head more than anything else. Not doing anything about this, just noticing what's naturally going on, what your norm is, so to speak. Let's release that, coming back through the middle. Take your second side. Same idea, just this easy, gentle, normal maybe is not the right word, but you get the idea. And then we're going to come back through the middle. Take the first side again. Use your left arm like a second spine, so nice and close to your body. Push into the floor so that you can sit up a little bit taller here. And then we're taking the right hand to the knee or the thigh or wherever it's comfortable to grab, as much as you can keep this right shoulder back. So if you're really reaching and bringing the shoulder in front of your face, pull it back and maybe don't quite hit the knee, right? So then you're gonna push into the left arm and pull with the right. And in your head, turn your belly button to the left. Rotate around and imagine turning your left side ribs toward the back of your mat. So again, we're rotating around on this axis. The shoulder can draw back maybe a bit. You can look over the shoulder as long as the head is in line with the spine too. Sometimes we kind of turn the face, right? Maybe down toward the floor or up toward the ceiling. Really working to keep that exactly where it was before. And then we're going to unwind. So rotate back to the center. And do the same thing on your second side, using that right arm like your second spine, close to the body, lifting us taller, and then using the left hand to pull as long as the shoulder doesn't come around. Again, wherever the hand falls. Belly button, side ribs, maybe the shoulder, maybe the face. Finding this sense of evenness, and it might not be big and giant, but it's nice and even and comfortable. And then we'll gently release that back to the center. From here, let's come around onto hands and knees. Bring the knees under the hips, the wrists underneath the shoulders. Spread your fingers wide so that your hands are even into the mat, and that's going to be important later. So remember that. And then some cat-cows here. So inhale the belly toward the floor. Exhaling as you round the spine toward the ceiling. Let's take a few more flows like that, in and out, just nice and gentle. One more float in and out here. And then find the middle. Take the hands forward or the knees back, slowly making your way into a kneeling plank. So instead of that tabletop. Shoulders are neutral on the back, the belly's engaged to hold us up here. Still nice and even on the four corners of the hands. If you need to stay on your knees a little longer, do. Otherwise, maybe just lift the knees away from the floor. pressing through the heels, the head, the crown of the head, all the way through the heels. We've got this nice straight line as if we were standing up. From here, go ahead and lift the hips. Make your way toward down dog. Just allow yourself to wiggle and stretch. And then settling into it, so engaging into the hands. Imagine sweeping your arms toward each other up underneath. You know how that engages the chest, the arms. You can press your chest back a bit, keeping the neutral curves of the spine. So if you find your lower back flattens out, just see if you can find that neutral place again. So maybe you can't press all the way back. The heels reach for the floor, whether they touch or not. Feel the stretch in the calves. And then from there, keep everything else as it is. Let's go ahead and lift the right leg. Press through the heel and see if you can keep your hips square. So you feel an extra stretch, maybe in your hamstrings, maybe in your calves. Maybe it's your lower back. And then open just the right hip. So that those toes turn out to the side. The leg might lift a little higher. You can lift that leg as high as it'll go, bending at the knee. Work to keep the shoulders square, the head hangs between the arms. And then let's release that, coming back to down dog. We'll do the same thing on the second side. So the left leg simply lifts, nothing else changes. And then the hip opens, taking the toes a little higher. Watch the shoulders, stay even through your hands, bend at the knee if you want. And then release that side. Dropping down to the knees, let's go ahead and take a little child's pose. Release your wrists for a moment. Then we'll be using them a little bit more as we move through class. Let's make our way back to down dog again. Adding on a little bit here. So lift the right leg again. Let the hip open, take the toes really high, bend at your knee. Keeping the shoulders level, see if you can peek over your left shoulder and see your toes over there. Wiggle them around, oh yeah, there they are. And then take the legs straight, square your hips again. Let's step that foot through to the hands and come to a lunge. So dropping the back knee to begin. Right, working your toes up to your fingers if you need a little help getting it there. And then we'll take the right leg straight. Working a little deeper into our hamstring here. So maybe the hands are on the floor, maybe you're up on blocks, maybe you're up on the thigh even. Feel the hamstring, neutral curves in your spine, right? Bend back into the knee. Let your hips come forward. Still feeling nice and square though. Try not to get them off center here. And then we'll simply bring the right hand to the hip. Rotate the belly toward the inner thigh. Your right side ribs toward the ceiling. Take your shoulder back, maybe look up. So that same idea, moving evenly through the spine. Imagine we're tucking the left shoulder underneath just as much as we're pulling the right shoulder back. Otherwise, you could get a little bit of that leaning idea that we were talking about earlier. And then we're going to release that. Take the leg straight again. So finding your deeper stretch, still staying nice and long through your spine, hips are square. And then bend back into the knee and let the hips come forward again. So you can keep that twist pretty basic like we did earlier, right? Just the hand to the hip and rotating around. Maybe this time, climb up on the thigh. And you can still keep it pretty simple, bringing the left hand to the outside of the knee and the right hand to the hip and rotating around, right? If you want to get a little fancier, see if you can take this elbow to the outside of the knee. Palms come together, and then we rotate around. This here gives us a little bit of leverage. We can push the elbow into the outside of the knee here. Watch that the knee stays pointing forward and doesn't collapse, otherwise there's nothing to push against, right? So rotating around here. And if you're not fancy enough, or if you want to challenge yourself a little bit with your balance, you can lift the back knee away from the floor. Don't lose your twist just to lift the knee. The twist is the thing. And then we'll release all that nice and gentle. Make your way back to down dog. So let's go to the second side then. Lift the left knee or left leg. Open the hip, bend at the knee. See if you can peek over your right shoulder and find your toes over there. Take the legs straight, square your hips. Let's step forward into our lunge again. Drop the back knee. Adjust your toes or your cat. And then when you're centered again here and you're ready for it, take the legs straight. So finding your stretch, same idea, propping if you need to prop, certainly. We'll bend into the knee. Let the hips come low. Staying squared, really long through your spine here. Add in that gentle twist. So left hand simply comes to the hip and we rotate around. Let's release our twist. Take the leg straight again. See if you can find a little bit deeper sensation. Listening to what your body needs from you this morning. Bending back into the knee. You decide how fancy to get here, how deep to twist the body. That's really all that is. So simply bringing the left hand to the hip, maybe bringing the right hand to the outside of the knee. And even here, you can use the hand against the knee to pull around, right? If you want more, elbow to the outside of the knee. And then the palms are going to come together. So we're rotating the belly button, the side ribs, and the shoulder, wherever the hands are. And then maybe just for entertainment, lifting the back knee away from the floor. Let's gently release what you got here. And make your way back to down dog. From here, walking the feet forward, let's come to a standing fold. Feet up underneath the hip bones, make sure your toes are pointing forward. Bend the knees if you need to here. Take your index and middle fingers, we're gonna wrap them around the big toes, and then take the legs straighter. They don't have to be straight, just a little straighter. Elbows out so the shoulders stay back. And then maybe you can pull on your toes, maybe you take your legs a little straighter, wherever you find a little bit deeper sensation. Nice and even on the four corners of the feet. Release your toes If you have a little bend in your knees and you prefer that, leave it. We're going to take the fingers to the lower back, interlacing. Shoulders are going to pull together on the back, and let's stretch the hands away from the shoulders. So maybe up off of your lower back. But don't make the hands the goal, right? Make the shoulders the goal. So they're continuing to pull closer together, move further away from the ears. We'll release the hands. And then you decide here, either sliding the hands up to the thighs or all the way up to the hips. Elbows bend toward the ceiling. With an inhale, come halfway up. Feel the hips over the ankles, the belly's working here. Again, you can definitely support with your hands on your thighs if that's where you need to be. And then another inhale brings us all the way up. And we release the arms. Okay. So standing nice and tall here, let's go ahead and bring the hands to the lower back. Either side, supporting that lower back. You can change them as we go if you want to. Make sure your feet are up underneath your hip bones. Gentle little tuck of the tailbone, right? So the pelvis stays in that level position. Elbows back, shoulder blades back, and then imagine lifting your chest toward the ceiling. So keeping tons of space in the spine, just a little baby back bend here. You can interlace your fingers behind your back if you prefer. Maybe take the arms out into cactus if you're ready for all of that, of course. Taking one more big breath. And then we'll inhale, coming back up to neutral. Release the hands. We're going to take the hands to the thighs, support as much as you need. Come forward into a half fold kind of place again. And then bend into the knees. Let's sit into a chair. So take just a second here. Again, neutral spine. Lower back's long, spine is tall. Hang on, center, extend, whatever makes you happy with your arms, of course. Staying nice and centered on your feet. We're going to take one more breath. Taking the hands back to the thighs, come back over into your half fold again. This time, take a little second, come all the way into whatever your full fold is. And let's bring the feet together. Some of you know where we're going. Hug your legs toward each other, even if they don't touch. You're going to squeeze them together as if they fit. Bring your hands back up to your thighs, come into that half fold again, and sit back into a chair here. So it feels a little awkward, might feel a little unbalanced. We're going to twist it. So same idea, you can keep it simple, simply bringing the hand to the left hand to the outside of the right knee and the right hand to the hip and twisting around. If you want to get fancier, the elbow comes to the outside of the knee and then you twist around here using the leverage of the knees. But the knees are hugging together so that they stay as stable as they possibly can. And then we're going to release the twist. Come back over into a fold again. Give yourself a little rest in the middle here. And we'll take the second side, same idea, squeezing the legs together, bending into the knees, coming into that chair position for just a moment. Take your time here. Right hand to the outside of the knee, left hand to the hip, or maybe the elbow to the outside of the knee and the palms come together. So play with it. See where your body will go. Use the knees, but keep them centered, right? So if you feel like you're leaning all over the place, come back to the middle. And then we're going to release that. Come back to your fold again. Stepping the feet back into our normal hip bone distance place. Here we'll take a little bend into the knees, and on an inhale, roll your spine all the way up. And we'll come back to our standing position. So let's take a couple of sun salutes here. Remember to modify, adjust, follow your breath. Inhale, stretch the arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Inhaling, come halfway up. And then exhale, step it back into plank. Take knees if you'd like, drop down to the belly as controlled as you can. Hands next to the side ribs as we roll our shoulders. Release that. Keep the elbows in, up and back into down dog. And then inhale, step the feet forward, back to fold again. Halfway up. Exhale over again. And then come all the way up. Exhaling the arms. And then we'll do that again. So inhale to lift. Exhaling to fold. Halfway up. Stepping back into plank or kneeling, of course. Down to the belly. Rolling into the shoulders, maybe pulling, maybe pressing a bit. Keep your elbows in, your spine long. Backing into down dog again. Inhaling to step forward. Coming halfway up. And back over. All the way up. And release. So we're going to do one more. Adding in, take your time if you need an extra breath getting in or out of something. Take it. So with an inhale, sit into chair. And then exhale over into fold. Halfway up. Exhaling back to your plank again. And taking it down to the belly. Rolling, pulling, pressing to cobra. You decide how deep. Keep the elbows in, up and back, down dog. With the inhale, stepping the right foot forward, come to the lunge. Back heel or knee to the mat. Inhale all the way up. Exhaling back over again, take it back, down dog. Forward into plank, inhale. And down. Roll to cobra. And back to down dog. The left foot steps forward this time. Heel or knee to the mat here and lift. Take it back over again, back to down dog. Forward into plank. And then down. Rolling into your cobra. And back to down dog. Pull down dog or drop into child's pose. Nice big breaths here. Take one more breath where you are. And if you drop down, lift back to down dog. Inhale as we step the feet forward, coming back to the fold again. Halfway up. And over. Into chair. And then release it off. And we're done with this. So here, let's go ahead and step back with the right foot. Nice big step. Left toes pointing forward, right toes cut in a little bit. We're going to start in a warrior two, so this left knee is going to bend. Look for your big toe beyond your knee. Knee ankle are stacked, and then the arms extend. Spine is tall, hips are level here. Even into the feet. Get those nice, easy breaths flowing. We're going to turn our warrior two into triangle. So take the left leg straight. Reach forward. Create space in this left side. And then let that left hand fall and the right hand lift. You must, but only Belly's in, shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked-ish. And then let's release that, come over into lunge. So bring the right hip forward. Let's take that left leg straight again. So folding over the leg, get this nice big hamstring stretch, of course. Feel that the hips are square, and we want to be stable here. So you may need a block. You may want to drop the back knee. We were there before once. You can even hop the back foot in a little bit, or enough to even bring that foot flat to the floor. So you decide, because stability is king here, right? Once you've found that place, the right hand maybe for now will stay where it is, and the left hand's gonna come to the hip. We're gonna rotate the belly around, the side ribs toward the ceiling and the shoulder back. Maybe looking up, maybe not. So if this is boring, right, see if you can bring this right hand to the outside of the left foot. And then we're pulling against the floor. So whether it's on the inside or outside, imagine sweeping it toward the right so you can rotate a little bit further into the twist. Maybe even take the left hand to the right hip behind the back there. And then you got a little bit of a pull, which also helps square up your hips. Breathe. And then release the twist, bend into the knee. Let's step back into down dog. So from here, come up on your toes, dropping the heels over to the left, and then bringing the right hand to the hip. So we're moving into side plank. You, of course, can take your left knee to the floor if that's where you need to be. Belly in, four corners of that left hand, you're breathing. And then we're gonna release that, come back to down dog. From here, step the left foot forward again. And then we'll walk the hands around into the center of the strap. So feet are as wide as you need them to be, or as narrow as you need them to be. Toes are pointing forward here. Hips are in line with the ankle. Sometimes the hips lean back a little bit. Try and stay centered. And then making sure the knees not locked, of course. You can even have the knees bent. From here, we're just gonna hang. So let your body hang over. You can grab opposite elbow here. Find tons of space in your spine. And then we're gonna work our second side. So we're gonna turn the left toes in a little bit. Turn the right toes towards the back of your mat. Bend into the knee here, lift the upper body. And we are something like warrior two. If you need to make adjustments, maybe your toes aren't pointing or your feet are too wide or too narrow, make those adjustments, right? When you're there, go ahead and extend your arms for your warrior two. Let's take the right leg straight. Reaching forward over the toes, we're going to hinge over to our triangle. Prop if you need to prop over here. And then let's release it, come over into lunge on our second side. So remember, I'm going to turn around just so you can hear me if nothing else. To adjust, right? Make yourself comfortable. Moving the knees on the floor. Take the right leg straight when you're ready. And just enjoy this fold over the leg. Notice how keeping the hips really square will help with the stability. So once you have that stability, remember you can change where the left hand is. Bring the right hand to the hip and rotate yourself around. So find your twist. If you need to then change what's going on in the legs, go ahead and change. If you want to give a go, taking the left hand to the outside of the foot, maybe go there. Get that idea of sort of sweeping the body or sweeping the arm so that the body moves around a little deeper. Play with it. Maybe it's a yes, and maybe it's like, no, that's a little too much. That right hand can kind of sneak behind the back and pull. Let's gently release, come over into our lunge here. Step back to down dog. Go ahead and come up on the toes and drop the heels over to the right. Finding your side plank, modifying, dropping the knees, stacking the feet maybe. Stacking the shoulders certainly. And then releasing that. Let's come back to down dog. And then stepping. Since I switched sides, I'm completely screwed up. Stepping the sheep. Let's just step the right foot forward. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. From here, taking the hands, walk them back around into your stride. Same idea. Adjust your feet wider, more narrow. Just make sure your toes are pointing forward and you're feeling even on your feet. Hips in line with the ankle. And then here, bending the knees if you need, just like we did earlier. Take your index and middle fingers, wrap them around your big toes. Bend the elbows out to the sides to help the shoulders pull toward each other. You can add a little pull on the toes to draw a little deeper into the stretch here. Releasing your toes, take the fingers to interlace behind the lower back. Just like before, pull your shoulder blades together, stretch the knuckles away. Hands can end up where they end up. And then release the hands back to the mat. So bring your arms straight down from your shoulders. So you may not be in a very deep fold. If your hands won't touch the floor with your legs straight, a block here is what you're going to need. So the feet are going to stay even into the floor. Push down and imagine pulling together up underneath. That'll keep the lower body stable, belly working. Bring your left hand underneath your face and the right hand to the hip. So that hand is going to help keep the hips square as we rotate the belly, the side ribs, and the shoulder around. Pressing down into the floor mat and sweeping over to the left, just like we did in the triangle. And then release that side. Switch, bringing the right hand to center and the left hand to the hip. Same idea on our second side, rotating around. Using the floor as much or little as the body allows. And then releasing that side. So we're gonna walk the feet in, maybe just wider than the shoulders. If it's too wide, you can narrow it, and if it's too narrow, you can take it wider. So the hands maybe just to the insides of the feet, and you can bend your knees or have them straighter, whatever makes you happy. From here, see if you can take your hands behind your heels. And then maybe even your hands up and over the tops of your feet. So again, here, bending, you feel like a pretzel? Bending the knees, having them straighter, maybe dropping your hips and bringing them in line with your knees and shoulders and head. Maybe not quite. So let's release all of that. Turn forward to the top of your mat and just drop into all fours. Nice and easy here. Sit back into a child pose. So we're going to play with crow, but this is going to be just a little bit different because we've been twisting so much. We're going to see if we can add in a twist to it. So come on up, feet behind the wrist. And when I do this, I like to start with the feet together and then just bend. And you're going to come like up onto your toes probably, and then pads in a way that you get the idea. Right? So squeeze your legs together just like we did when we were in that chair. Now, if your brain is a little bit nervous, this is where the pillow is going to go a little bit to the side of your mat, or your block even, right? You've got concrete here, so I'm super excited. So hug your legs together like crazy. Bring your hands to the floor, over to the left. So ideally, your right elbow is connected to the outside of your left knee, and your left elbow is pretty close to your left hip. Maybe it's not quite touching. Don't worry. If you go, it will touch. So then the idea is to twist the belly around. Okay? Use the elbow at the knee, right? Get the upper body as twisty as it's going to be. Ideally, keeping the legs really squeezing toward each other so that you're pretty stable there. But they're not going to be on the floor in a second, maybe. Take the hands as flat to the floor as you can get. So you may need to lean a little bit over to the left. If you keep leaning, that's where your body will hit, right? Maybe your hip is on your elbow and your knee is on your elbow or your other elbow if it wasn't already. And then you keep leaning. And maybe you keep leaning and leaning and leaning. Squeeze your belly to your thighs, squeeze your knees together. The more you lean, the less you can be on your toes. And maybe you balance. Maybe just for a millisecond. Maybe you fall down, but hopefully you're not on concrete. Or you have your pillow or whatever. So take just another moment here. And then come on back to center. All right, so you know where we're going. That's just a little bit of a slope here, so this side should be interesting. So, same exact idea. Take your time. Hug your legs toward each other. Rotating the body around, maybe this elbow to the outside of the knee, the other elbow at the hip-ish, right? The fingertips come to the floor. Rotate around into a little bit deeper twist. Maybe, right? Maybe the hands come flat to the floor and you start to lean. See where you go. Pull your belly toward your thighs, squeeze your legs together like crazy, and maybe lean and balance. For however long, and maybe you fall down. No one's there to see, right? But you gave it a go. Take one more breath, doing whatever you're doing right at this moment. And then we're going to make our way into a down dog. Let your body stretch however it needs to stretch. Come on down to your knees, sit back in a tall pose for just a couple of breaths. I'm going to work out the wrists for just a second. So let's come forward up onto hands and knees. Instead of having your fingers point forward, go here, turn them around so that they point towards your knees more than your shoulders. The closer your knees are to your fingers, the easier it is. So adjust there if you need. Wrists underneath the shoulders, the hands are shoulder width apart. That makes sense, right? If you want a little more sensation, you walk the knees back. Keep a little baby bend in your elbows here. You don't want to lock out your elbows. Maybe lean the hips back a little bit for more intensity. Remember, this is all up to you. Nice and easy, come forward again. Lock the knees in if you need to lock the knees in. We're going to pick the hands up gently. Turn the palms face up. Wrists are still underneath the shoulders, fingers point toward each other here. And lay the back of your hand flat on the floor. The elbows straighter will be more sensation. Spread your fingers nice and wide and get your hand as flat as you can. You can lean a little bit of body weight onto the wrists unless that's uncomfortable. A little bit, don't go crazy. And then instead of having the fingers spread wide, make a fist, but keep the back of the hand flat on the floor, as flat as you can. Pull those fingers in as tight as you can. And then spread the fingers wide again. So then quickly, a bunch of times, however many, squeeze in and wide. Squeeze in and wide. A bunch of times. Again, the straighter the elbows are, the more sensation there's going to be. Keep the back of the hand flat on the floor. So end with the hands wide. Sit back on your heel for just a second here. Slowly pick up your hands and let's roll the wrists. Nice and easy. Be gentle with yourself here. Maybe flap your hands forward and back a little bit. And then you can shake them out. Be gentle, go easy. And then let's release that coming around, legs in front. So take the legs out long. Take that inner thigh rotation again, of course, sitting tall. Reach the arms up. And let's come forward into fold. Keeping the spine long. Maybe close your eyes here, sort of let the mind quiet again. It got a little excited maybe in that last set of poses. Gently here, we'll come back up, inhale. And then release the arms. Let's take the feet flat to the floor. C-curve your spine and roll on down to your back. Just so you know, it's getting a little noisy out here. I may mute myself, so if I can mute myself anyway. So if it sounds a little bit weird for a second, don't worry. All right, so coming down to your back. Plugging the knees into the chest and just rocking here. feet flat to the floor. And then cross the left ankle over the right knee. Reaching back behind the right thigh here, interlace your fingers and gently pull that leg in toward your chest. You can press the left leg away a little bit for some sensation there. But work to stay centered, so the hips are level, shoulders are relaxed. Keep the arms pulling toward the body. Kick the leg back into the hands for a little bit of push and pull going on here. And then keeping the legs crossed, release the right foot to the floor. We're going to open the arms out into your T position and then let the legs fall over to the right. So the left foot might be flat to the floor with the knee pointing up toward the ceiling, or you can let the knee come toward the floor to change the sensation and the twist. So we've twisted lots of different places here. Find what you need at this point. We're going to bring it back up to the middle. Uncross the legs. And then move to the second side. So the right ankle over the left knee, reaching back behind the left thigh, drawing in toward the body. Keeping the arms drawing in, you use the leg to press back into the hands. And then we'll release the foot to the floor, keeping the legs crossed. Open the arms, and let's let the legs fall to the left. Same idea, adjusting where this left knee is pointing to get a little bit different sensation. We'll take another big breath here. And then let's come on up to the middle again. Release the legs. Draw them back into the chest and rock. Squeezing the knees in as tight to the chest as you can get. Pulling your forehead toward your knee. Round through your spine. And then release into a full body stretch. Releasing your stretch, let your arms come down by your sides. And find Shavasana. So whether that's reclined fully on the floor, feet flat, or the knees maybe propped, maybe you want to come to seated meditation here. Find where your body's going to be comfortable. And then allow the body to still. Moving back slowly to your breath again here. Release control of the breath, but try and stay focused on it. going to go ahead and turn my volume down so that you don't have to listen to all this. So just holding here, staying present and relaxed for just a few minutes, allowing yourself to simply rest. Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath, and then let that go. Allow the body to wiggle and stretch. When you're ready, bring the feet flat, slowly making your way up to seated if you're not. Sitting well. And bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the lighted vision. Namaste. So thanks for playing today. I hope you feel pretty twisted. Be sure to hydrate during the day. Twist can be detoxifying, so let's get all of that crap out of there. Yeah, enjoy the weekend. It looks like it's going to be beautiful anyway. And remember to check out the website for more details on the summer virtual retreat. And that's all I got for you guys. Have a great weekend. It was good to see you. And I'll see you next week, if not before, right? Bye.